Alright guys, TJHaLy here again today. Happy Tuesday, or whatever day you're watching this, and welcome to today's video. Different type of intro, don't know what the hell I'm on about. Today, I want to talk about a few different things. Of course, a lot of players are announcing free agency, restricted free agency, and the like. Few things to talk about there. Then, I wanted to go on to the potential of another franchise spot. This article came out with a journalist putting together a hypothesis that it's possible that Hector Rodriguez, HECZ, former OpTic Gaming CEO and the like, potentially might get involved with a Houston spot for the upcoming Call of Duty CDL, Call of Duty League, whatever the hell they're going to call it. This is far from confirmed, but I think on the whole, the idea that there would be a Houston spot seems kind of likely off the stuff we're going to go into. Some pretty funny stuff as well, so stick around for that. This one potential investor that supposedly bought out the Houston Outlaws spot and could potentially be getting involved here with the CDL seems to be a pretty funny character. So we'll have a look at that in a second. So yeah, like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new. As always, I would greatly appreciate it. Firstly, tomorrow's video, or maybe the next day, I've got a video prepared talking about HECZ and whether he is overrated, and you know, the results from his teams that have come up over the last few years, whether it's right to put the blame on his teammates or whether he should take some of the footfall, whatever the case may be. Decimate, in that video when I recorded it, Decimate had not announced anything regarding what was happening with his team. He has announced here, I'm currently looking to explore all options. He doesn't claim that he's a restricted free agent or a free agent or whatever, like the guys HECZ, Assault and Silly have done, which pretty much confirms they're off the team. Possible that JT Decimate has been offered a place on the bench, maybe on Envy, and is thinking, well, you know, I might as well put a tweet out there and see if anyone else wants me, but that's maybe what I would read into this, because he hasn't said he's a restricted free agent, and if he was a restricted free agent and he'd been effectively released to go and explore options, but with a buyout, so, you know, if that was the case, he'd probably have said it. So that's why I reckon that maybe HECZ thinking, maybe we keep this guy, maybe we just stick him on the bench. There's a lot of space on the bench. Moving onwards, this was announced just a few minutes ago, so I got kind of lucky that I had a really long day and I'm recording this kind of late. I'm a restricted free agent for 2020, so Temp is going to be off the Toronto spot, which is Splice. So interestingly, a lot of players from teams that could potentially have a spot are being released from their team, which is interesting, of course, because Temp was a fantastic player this year. So he's not going to be playing for the Toronto spot. Maybe he doesn't like it. Maybe he doesn't get along with Marky B, the manager. Maybe he doesn't get along with Looney, whatever. There was definitely some conflict in that team this year, 100%. Kind of makes sense why maybe the team would want Temp to move away and maybe Temp himself would want to move away as well. But it's interesting though. What are Splice going to do? Are they going to build around Looney? Who really knows? Few other tweets to go through then. Of course, Joseph Pennington. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent. Probably is going to get on one of the best teams in the game, I would imagine. He honestly had a great chance, so I'm hoping that he lands on his feet, as will, hopefully, the rest of the guys in unit, especially rated in that. Of course, they come top 6. They didn't have the best, you know, they didn't have to beat the best teams, but they beat who they had to beat, and the teams they lost to were pretty damn good teams, to be honest, on the whole. So you can't really put too much stock into that. Solid performances overall. Hopefully, they get a good result. This was announced yesterday as well. Please welcome Tom Ryan Ogre 2 as the general manager for our Florida Call of Duty franchise. So Ogre 2, if you don't know, one of the absolute legends of console esports. He holds the record, I think, at 40, I think it's at least 40 LAN victories, which is what Crimsix is chasing in the pursuit. Maybe Ogre 2 is slightly under 40, and that's why Crimsix is basically chasing his record. It may even be higher than 40, I'm not sure, but maybe 42 or something. But I think Crimsix is chasing at least 40. You know, this guy was on another level back in the day. He's been working with Reciprocity this season on being their general manager, and they've let him go to go and explore this opportunity, which is interesting to me, because if Reciprocity were getting a spot for sure, you know, maybe they'd have been like, well, you know, hang on, Tom, you might as well just stay because we have a spot coming up very shortly. But no, he's gone to Misfits, gone to the Florida spot, which kind of tells me maybe Reciprocity is on the fence or unlikely to get a spot. Another bit of news to talk about here. Pristini says, I miss my team and I miss getting on and improving with them every day. I actually love that team so much. And, you know, Preston, he does reply a little bit further down with something that kind of, it's okay, here we go. Well, we improved and won champs, so take a break. I don't want to break from you idiots, though. Hands down, best vibes in between between two old teammates. Old question mark, devil face. So, you know, the tweet does seem to imply that they're not teaming anymore, but then this tweet kind of says the opposite, so who really knows? But to be honest, I don't really think you would tweet something like this if the team wasn't splitting up to some degree. So I thought I'd at least put that out there for you guys to mull over. Luca, currently an unrestricted free agent. Hopefully he lands somewhere. Lacefield does a similar tweet, unrestricted free agent for CDL 2020. Does a little bit of a meme here, and I thought this was kind of funny because this, I would say, is probably not the way to do your free agent tweet, whereas this tweet from Aches is probably the way to do it. I just thought it was a funny comparison, having, you know, business email, akesbusiness@gmail.com. Nice little tagline, nice little cleverly put together images, really glorifying it. Lacefield does this. So, you know, I can tell if I'm an organisation and who the hell I want to pick up. Diabolic also the following, currently in talks of general manager roles, maybe even being a professional player. CoD Toronto says this, strategic coach for 2020, you in, Marky B is in, so he's going to be back in Splice, he's balling out of control. Fair play to Marky, he really landed at the right time as he, you know, retired in the World War II season, and he's rode the wave all the way through. Here we go then. According to this article, this journalist has a theory that Hector might team up with Lee Zyben. He recently bought the Houston Outlaws and purchased a franchise spot in Houston. So we'll have a look through the article here. I will, of course, leave the article down below because it's probably pretty damn small for you guys to see on mobile especially. So I'll link this down below if you want to look through it in more detail, and we'll go through some other things in a second here. So here we go. Is Houston the next Call of Duty franchise? Is the title. Key to note, this article is from a while ago now. So the prediction that they made that the 8th slot for the upcoming Call of Duty League has been sold, being Houston, is not true. Turns out we already have our 8 spots announced. Now there's hopefully going to be 12. So Houston still could be one of the remaining ones. But we've got 2 LA spots, that's 2. Florida is 3. Minnesota is 4. New York is 5. Toronto is 6. Paris is 7. And Dallas is 8. So those are the 8 ones we have currently announced so far. But, you know, let's just follow this through because it's quite interesting. Of course, what they start with here is that the Overwatch League franchises, you know, have their pick of the bunch effectively to choose Call of Duty spots. So that's obviously an important one. And we can see that then they go on to talk about Infinite Esports, Entertainment, Immortals Gaming Club. Then we get on to this point here. The Houston Outlaws were sold a couple of weeks ago, reported by Jacob Wolf. Houston real estate investor Lee Zyben agreed to buy the Houston Outlaws for $40 million from Immortals Gaming Club, who of course bought the OpTic spot. And they effectively have been shipping off all of their excess assets because really they bought the OpTic Gaming brand so they could get the League of Legends spot. But they've also having to hold on to the Call of Duty team as well because they see profits there. And, you know, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. The deal is not yet executed, but is expected to close in late August. So, yeah, not, you know, I haven't heard this been fully confirmed. I thought I would have heard about it. But it seems like this is very likely to happen. And Lee Zyben, as we'll look at in a second, clearly has connections to Houston and the surrounding areas. Then he goes on to North Texas. This is an image, of course, of, I think it's Jason Lake, is it? Or, yeah, I think it's Jason Lake. So, while Southern California is leading the geographical area for teams, developers, and startups, North Texas has quickly established itself as the new dominant domain. Envy Gaming, based in Dallas, Complexity Gaming secured a massive open complex right next to the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. So this is the Complexity guy. And then we have this little bit on Hector, which I thought you guys would find interesting. So, okay, he talks about Hector for a little bit. He's still based in Frisco, Texas. And why would you not want someone who'd been around the Call of Duty team for many years and created the most popular team for that title? Of course, one thing to consider here is that Hex, under OpTic, owned the Houston Outlaws. So if, you know, someone's getting involved in buying the Outlaws and then trying to get involved in the CoD League, Hector is probably going to be thinking, well, I know what's going on here and I have, you know, familiarity with these things going on. So look, this is their conclusion, that the threads they put together are Overwatch League franchises tied to Call of Duty League franchises, recent purchase of Houston Outlaws supposedly, the growth of esports industry in North Texas, and the potential involvement of Hex if he wants to get this together. So that's effectively the hypothesis this comes up with. Nothing solidified, of course, but it does make some degree of sense, especially we have this tweet just a few hours ago. Hex comes out with COD is life, and a little bit of a different chain of events to what we've seen from HECZ before. Maybe this is implying that something is going on behind the scenes. Of course, it's speculation, but I know we love to speculate, so I thought I'd fuel that desire. So this is Lee Zybin. This is his Twitter at the time, where a screenshot was taken yesterday, thanks to people in CDL Intel Crone's Discord for putting some of this stuff together. Kind of funny here. He's done this tweet. So let's actually have a look at this a second. I think this is probably the best one to say it. He did these tweets on July the 18th. To The Rock, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, I am purchasing 2 esports teams for the Overwatch and Call of Duty League. I am looking for strategic investors. Would you be interested? Pretty funny. Now let's have a look through the people who follow him. So we start from down here. A lot of the people that follow him, there's only about 100 at the current time. A lot of these are much earlier people, because a lot of people have just followed him over the last day or so, because they're aware of this going on, and Crone Intel Call of Duty was tweeting about it. But look at the kind of people that follow him here. A lot of these people are based in Houston. So, you know, Houston Concrete, license in Texas, services Houston. You know, you kind of get the picture. Competitive Overwatch League podcast, Overwatch Path to Pro, head coach of the Outlaws Green Wall, you know, Outlaws professional player, professional Overwatch player, assistant GM of the Houston Outlaws, you know, microwave operations and IT, you know, manager at Outlaws. These are all legit people that follow him, all players. So we know this guy's legit pretty much if you look into this stuff. If people like this follow him and he's thinking about buying it, it's pretty much legit. So, you know, that tells me a pretty damn good story as to what's going on here. Whether, of course, he will commit to invest, as he says here, in a Call of Duty team, then, you know, we'll have to see, I guess. This is interesting stuff, though. Of course, the real question is whether HECZ gets involved. This could be the perfect opportunity to. We haven't heard too many rumors about whether he's going to try and partner up with Hastro, and maybe, given this guy seems to be purchasing the Outlaws and trying to get a COD spot as well, maybe that is a good direction for HECZ to go down. So I'd be interested to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new, as always. You know, interesting times. Thanks for watching, as always. I've said as always about 50 million times, as always, and I'll see you next time.
You're all we have left. Do not fail us. Explosive planted.
Mm-hmm.